Very nice. Thank you. We'll start with our Mangalacharan prayers, um, and um, and then we'll have a little bit of 2 minutes of kirtan, and then we can have the class. Om Ajnanaतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं त्वं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभयश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मत्समो नास्ति पापात्मा न पराधी च कश्चन परिहारेऽपि लज्जामे किं ब्रुवे पुरुषोत्तमा। भूमौ स्खलितपादानां भूमिरेवावलम्बनं त्वयि जातापराधानां त्वामेव शरणं प्रभो। गोविन्दवल्लभे राधे प्रार्थये त्वमहं सदा त्वदीयम् इति जानातु गोविन्दो मां त्वया सह। राधा राधितराधेश राधिका प्राणवल्लभा राधा रमण वन्दे त्वं राधिका प्रेम निर्जिता। प्रचोदिता येन पुरा सरस्वती वितन्वता जस्य सतीं स्मृतिं हृदि स्वलक्षणा प्रादुरभूत्खिलास्यतः समे ऋषीणां ऋषभप्रसीदताम्। Hare Krishna. Thank you for those who just joined. Satwat Hariva and Rupali Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hariva. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hope everybody is doing well. And thank you for those who joined online as well. So grateful that you have joined. That is Malati Mataji, and then that is Swapna Mataji, correct?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Harival. We'll just do 2-minute kirtan, not much, but then it's 1:11. We have time till 3, but we'll Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you again for joining. Hare Val Shivam. We are doing the Ishopanishad and we need to project it. And I will do 13. Thank you. Thank you to Krishnangi Mataji. Yes, I think we are good. I see this. It's yeah. While Mataji does it, we can just read the mantra 13. So for those who don't have Ishopanishad, we can get you a copy. Yes, please. Yes, it is there in the book room. Yes, and we can give it as a gift for those, all the newcomers, and we can make a quick. So, oh. Interesting. All right. We completed 13? Yeah, and we have to do 13. Yeah, let's do 13. Okay. Yeah, give one copy. Yes, please. Okay. And then have a copy, and then it's a gift. But if you want to make a donation of $1 or $1, whatever, you can put it in the hundi. It's a beautiful book, Ishopanishad. It will change your life for sure. Okay. And then on that, we can go to page 13. Mantra 13, or whatever is the page number. 91 for the new book. Kindly repeat after me. Anyadevahu sambhavad Anyad ahur asambhavad Iti shushrumadhiranam Yenastad vichachakshire Anyadevahu sambhavad Anyad ahur asambhavad Iti shushrumadhiranam Yenastad vichachakshire. Mataji, please do the translation.
It is said that one result is obtained by worshipping the supreme cause of all causes, and that another result is obtained by worshipping what is not supreme. All this is heard from the undisturbed authorities who clearly explained it.
Thank you. So the theme is that one of the questions people ask is, if everything belongs to God and I belong to God, then God has created this world, yes or yes? And when I am participating or acting in this world, I am serving God. Logic? Fallacious, but nevertheless possible for those who are like, I can use spiritual life to make sure that what I am doing is also spiritual. But here, the Ishopanishad says that one result is obtained by worshipping the Supreme, another result is obtained by worshipping which is not Supreme. And it is something little easy to understand. If a person eats processed food all day long for many years versus a person eating healthy food, the result are the same? It's the same thing, because here Ishopanishad says, because everything comes from God, but Krishna is giving us the understanding that everything is not God. There is a difference. And then we'll read a little bit of Ishopanishad. And then the other point is undisturbed authorities. So, purport, Mata, Rupali, please do the first paragraph.
The system of hearing from undisturbed authorities is approved in this mantra. Unless one hears from a bona fide acharya who is never disturbed by the changes of the material world, one cannot have the real key to transcendental knowledge. The bona fide spiritual master who has also heard the the Shruti mantras or Vedic knowledge from his undisturbed acharya never presents anything that is not mentioned in the Vedic literature. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.25, it is clearly said that those who worship the Pitrus or forefathers attain the planets of the forefathers. That the gross materialists who make plans to remain here stay in this world, and that the devotees of the Lord who worship none but Lord Krishna, the supreme cause of all causes, reach him in his spiritual sky. Here also in Sri Ishopanishad, it is verified that one achieves different results by different modes of worship. If we worship the Supreme Lord, we will certainly reach him in his eternal abode. And if we worship demigods like the sun god or moon god, we can reach their respective planets without a doubt. And if we wish to remain on this wretched planet with our planning commissions and our stopgap political adjustments, we can certainly do that also.
So, thank you. So, here it is Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yanti deva vrata devan pitrun yanti pitrun vataha bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti madhyajnopima. So, because, coming from India, sometimes we may have the notion that all gods are the same level. But Krishna is saying, Yanti deva vrata devan. If you are worshipping the devas, then you will go to the planet of demigods. Pitrun yanti pitruvatha. The Shraddha ceremonies that we do, right? Where you worship the forefathers. So if you worship the forefathers, then Krishna is saying you will go to the family or the planets of the forefathers. So just like there are planets of the demigods, there are planets of the forefathers next to Yamalok. If you see the world, it's like in a spherical shape, and then the Pitris are then the lower planets next to Yamalok. So you want to worship Pitriloka, you can go there. Yanti deva vrata deva pitin yanti piturata. Bhutani yanti bhuteja. If you worship the ordinary demigods or the bhutas, then you will go among the bhutas. But yanti mad yajinopimam. He says that those who worship me, they will come to me. Now the bigger question we ask is, what is the difference between worshipping Krishna and the other demigods? We'll get to know that the demigods are in this world and they are very powerful and their planets are really opulent. But nevertheless, when the world comes to an end, the demigods also, they have to kind of depart from the world. So it is better to worship Krishna, to go back to him. Another example given is, if you are in a prison, right, there is a comfortable cell, class A cell. It has some private bathrooms, nice TV, better menu on the thing. And then there is a middle class cell, class B, which is like ordinary cell, like any other prison cell. And the class C cell is pretty bad, solitary confinement. Now, if people struggle in the prison, I should go on to this class A cell, I'm in class B cell. And they work hard to go to class A cell. Is that very intelligent or not very intelligent? Because you are still in the prison, yes or yes? Which means that there should be some program to get me out of the prison. Even though I am in the class A cell, I am still in the prison. So the demigods, their planets are incredibly opulent. Bhagavatam talks about it. If you try to have this business idea that I'll sell deodorants on heavenly planets, good luck with that, because the body never smells. If you want to open some pharmacies on heavenly planets, again, good luck with that. Nobody falls sick there. And if you want to start some senior citizen homes, again, good luck. Nobody falls old age. It's the opulent life is so opulent there. It's like everybody has their own plain, beautiful gardens. It's said that one can have as much pleasure, intimate pleasure with the opposite gender as much as you want, and there is no question of children and having birth, because it seems you have childbirth once and then the child is grown up as soon as they are born, you're good. No worry about college funds. So life seems to be great, but though the Vedas talk about some sacrifices which are very attractive to go to heavenly planets, Krishna is saying, but still you will be going to class A cell in the prison. It's better to come back to me, get out of the prison. So that's what is being mentioned here in the Isha Upanishad verse. Let's read some more and see where we land. Let's do para number 2. Shubham, you want to do? No. Yeah, Shubham, you can do para number 2. And please come in the front. There is plenty of space. We are not. So I think the joke previously used to be the Swamis used to say we are all vegetarians. Please come. But then I think with the post-pandemic thing, we'll say we don't have COVID. So please go.
Sure, go ahead.
Yay.
Nowhere in authentic scriptures it is said that one will ultimately reach the same goal by doing anything or worshipping anyone. Such foolish theories are offered by self-made spiritual masters who have no connection with the parampara, the bona fide system of disciplic succession. The bona fide spiritual master cannot say that all paths lead to the same goal and that anyone can attain this goal by his own mode of worship of the demigods or of the supreme or whatever. Any common man can very easily understand that a person can reach his destination only when he has purchased a ticket for that destination. A person who has purchased a ticket for Calcutta can reach Calcutta but not Bombay. But the so-called spiritual masters say that any and all paths will take one to the supreme goal. Such mundane and compromising offers attract many foolish creatures who become puffed up with their manufactured methods of spiritual realization. The Vedic instructions, however, do not uphold them. Unless one has received knowledge from the bona fide spiritual master who is in a recognized line of disciplic succession, one cannot have the real thing as it is.
Okay, thank you. So this is the whole theme of Srila Prabhupada is iti shushruma dhiranam. That is the phrase is being. Shushruma is, I have heard, following by my teacher. And then dhiranam is that those who are themselves in the line of disciplic succession. I'll give one example. Sir, what's your good name? Rahul. I'm just using you, don't mind me. So Rahul, has God forbid, I prayed that you have good health, but just it's a joke. So Rahul goes to the doctor. He has some medical condition, and the doctor says, "Well, I've done all the tests. You need to have surgery. Unfortunately, there is no other choice. You need to have this surgery." Rahul is a very intelligent person. He says to the doctor, "Well, doctor, so tell me about your qualifications. Which university did you graduate from? And, did you have prior experience of doing this surgery?" The doctor says, No, I didn't graduate from any university. I'm a self-made doctor. I've read books. I watched a lot of YouTube videos on how to do it. In fact, I have gone so far as to illegally plant video cameras in the actual operating theater to see how they do it. I'm an authentic guy. Rahul says, I don't know if I need surgery, but you need to see a psychiatrist. Yes or yes? Would you trust a doctor? So the same thing, if for a simple surgical procedure, we take so much care, right? And also, you are taking care to make sure that person is qualified enough. In the same way, in the spiritual life, how can you say that, I have figured it out. I know how things work. There is no question of, the one thing I request, if you come across a person and you take him or her to be like a guru position, the first question you should ask is, who is your guru? Right? The first thing you ask the doctor is, which university did you graduate, medical school you graduate from? Who was your advisor? Or do you ask these things or not? So in the same way, if you go to a guru and they say, no, I have realized it out, then it's the same way doctor saying that I have read the books and I'm ready to perform heart surgery on you. Thank you very much, have a nice day. Yes or yes? So same way, spiritual, because the human body to an extent, actually you can do it. If you are really sharp and genius, then you can actually learn the humans, you can read books on anatomy and do it. And typically speaking, assume that the same person, the same quote-unquote doctor is on an island, and you are stuck in an island, and then there is no other thing, and the person is having a heart attack. And I'm not a doctor, but I think I can do it. And you might say, okay, give it a try. If I have to die without the surgery, why not you try? At least in a human life, if you are a genius, you might still try to figure out the anatomy and try to do the operation on your own. But spiritual life is impossible because you can't know what you are dealing with. Krishna is beyond the modes of material nature. We talk of Atma. Think about Atma. Who has seen Atma? And the fact is that you have to have spiritual authority to actually tell these things which are beyond our vision. So that is being stressed here. Anytime anybody says, I am a self-made guru, don't walk, run away. So far, so good? Good. So let's continue. I think... Actually, this is... Okay, let's see what more. Can we go to the paragraph in this mantra? So it is on page 94. I don't know if it's the same. In this mantra of Sri Ishopanishad. Say it? Okay. Satvat, please. And then Shaurabh.
Hare Krishna. In this mantra of Sri Ishopanishad, the word Sambhavat, by worship of the Supreme Cause, is very significant. Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and everything that exists has emanated from him. In the Bhagavad Gita 10.8, the Lord says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam bodha bhava samanvita. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts.
Thank you. Here is the problem. Krishna says that I am, from me everything comes, which means that unless he tells what it is that is produced of me, I won't understand. I'll give an example. If a person wants to know who his father is or her father is, what is the best way to know? Go to mother. And mother says that this particular person is your father. Do you accept or do you not accept? Or do you say, nope, I don't believe you. Okay, I'll start doing the DNA. Now will say, hey, that example is old. You can do DNA testing and then you can find out. Good luck with that. 8 billion population on the planet. And then even if you remove half of them as ladies and half of them as men, 4 billion. Try your luck with that, and by the time you reach the 1 millionth person, maybe your father lives or even not gone by that time. Who knows? Yes or yes? You'll never know. The best way is your mother says, accept this, accept it. Because I have come from the womb of my mother and I cannot know anything before my coming here in this world. Yes or yes? Same thing Krishna says, everything comes from me, which means it's better to ask the source of this being, what is this all about? And Krishna is saying this is all about in the Gita. Then why do you need a guru? why do you need a guru is because Krishna's words are not that easily understood. Mata, sit on the chair. If you are feeling... Okay. So, if you are... Krishna's words, because they come from a different platform, it is not easy to understand Krishna's words. And you can very easily misunderstand him. Krishna's words, Krishna's activities. Because if Krishna is, for example, Krishna stole butter, yes or yes? Now, what is this God here? Is he a God? Seriously? Maybe he has during pandemic we had serious butter problem. We couldn't get butter, and for a minute, for some time, the dairies, because the supply chain production was little cut down, and the workers were not there because the pandemic hit really hard, and there was not much butter. Butter was a problem. Maybe he also has a pandemic going on in his place, and there is a butter problem. That's why he steals butter. You can think like that, because I am projecting my experience on God, then I come to the same conclusion. But Krishna's nature is completely different, and therefore there is acharyas coming in disciplic succession who tell about Krishna. And that's the reason why you have to have some guide who is coming or passing that knowledge in a uncontrolled or unbreakable or unchangeable method. If we remember the classic example, I told Shubham something, and then Shubham passed it to Rahul something, and then Rahul... By the time it reaches Sattva, it's completely different. Did you hear that story? Sorry? Yes, there we go. Chinese whispers. Next time when we get a chance, we will actually enact it. It's a fun play to enact. Okay, so let's see what else can we learn. It's a big purport. That's the reason why I'm not going through a lot of it. The living being, it's on page 98. The living being. Okay, all yours.
The living being is perpetually suffering in different types of bodies, from the material miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death. The human form of life offers one a chance to get out of his entanglement simply by re-establishing the lost relationship between the living entity and the Supreme Lord. The Lord comes personally to teach this philosophy of surrender unto the Supreme, the Sambhuta. The real service to humanity is rendered when one teaches surrender to and worship of the Supreme Lord with full love and energy. That is the instruction of Shri Ishopanishad in this mantra.
Thank you. You can do one more, please.
The simple way to worship the Supreme Lord in this age of disturbance is to hear and chant about His great activities. The mental speculators, however, think that the activities of the Lord are imaginary. Therefore, they refrain from hearing of them and invent some word jugglery without any substance to divert the attention of the innocent masses of people. Instead of hearing of the activities of Lord Krishna, such pseudo-spiritual masters advertise themselves by inducing their followers to sing about them. In modern times, the number of such pretenders has increased considerably, and it has become a problem for the pure devotees of the Lord to save the masses of people from the unholy propaganda of these pretenders and pseudo-incarnations.
Thank you. Questions, comments before we go to the last paragraph? Yes, Shubham.
Prabhuji, in the translation, it uses the word all is heard from the undisturbed authorities. What does undisturbed mean?
So, Srila Prabhupada writes that Dhiranam is transmitted or translated as undisturbed authorities. The undisturbed authorities, so two things Srila Prabhupada qualifies as undisturbed authorities. One is that they themselves are having spiritual masters, as I discussed earlier. The second thing is that they are not disturbed by the changes of this material world. Because Krishna says in the Gita, this world is constantly changing. How much ever you want to not change. Yes or yes? But it's changing. So the bigger question comes is, who am I that is observing these changes? And what should I do about them or not do about them? And why? If one comes to this point, then one remains undisturbed. Otherwise, the world will cause disturbance. People have many ideas of which country is the best that we can go and stay and there are no problems. And they travel to different countries. But based on our experience here, it's not like any place is free of problems. Any place there is no change. So by re-establishing our relationship with Krishna, one becomes undisturbed, knowing that this is not happening to me, but the body that is perceiving these changes, but I am different from them. And when you think like that, then you are in a much more undisturbed. Is that helpful? Thank you. Other questions, comments? Online, anybody has? I just quickly take a look. Yes, sir.
So, how to become undisturbed? Because it is very tough. Because when you say that, multiple times we read these scriptures. I also try to practice it. The moment we go from here, the mind goes into its own entanglement. So, how to become undisturbed?
That's a beautiful question. Thank you for asking. One thing is to start our daily routine with some spiritual practices. And here we actually take some time to chant the names of God. Over a period of time, when you see, in all my years of practicing spiritual life, I came to one sort of conclusion, or not conclusion, but one sort of firm realization. Can I share if that's okay with you? I came to the conclusion that nothing in this world is as bad as it seems. And nothing in this world is as good as it seems. So, I have told this story multiple times. Hopefully, people must have forgotten, so that the nature of world is such that things that have a perception now will change over a period of time. So, what intrinsic value or reactions you afford to those things might be not the same over a period of time. I'll give an example, a story. If you have heard this story, forgive me before. But there was this farmer, and he had a horse. And he was living in the village with his son and wife, and they had the horse. So the horse went to the forest one day to obviously graze for grass. And it befriended 4 other horses, wild horses. And the farmer, he got the horse back along with 4 other horses. The people in the village, they said, "Wow, you're so fortunate, lucky person. You just had 1 horse, now you have 4 horses. This is amazing, how lucky you are, how wonderful." And this farmer, maybe he read Bhagavad Gita a little bit longer. He was like a little stoic person. He's like, "Okay, thank you. Everything happens by course of time." And then they are wild horses, which means you need to domesticate or tame them, correct? So his son, the farmer's son, was trying to tame one of those wild horses. And he got onto the horse and he tried to tame, but the horse threw him violently down to the floor. And his leg seriously got broken. He was in the bed for a couple of months. And the villagers, "Oh, look at you. How unfortunate. Had you not got that horse, had you not got these horses, your son would have never, ever, lost this leg. You're so unfortunate. And the farmer is like, after some time, a war broke out. And they were short of soldiers. A king's soldiers came to this village looking to recruit young men to take them to the war. And they rounded up few people. They came to the farmer's house. They saw the son. If they had to take him to the war, they had to take him on a stretcher because his leg was recovering. And they left him alone. They said, sorry, he can't take you. You are no use to us. And the villagers, oh my God, you are so fortunate. Look at you, my son is gone to fight, and then your son, you are so lucky to have you. So, when we have this philosophical perspective of the world, it doesn't seem the disasters or the calamities or the joys or the gains that you get, it's not as good as it seems or as bad it seems. There is a lesson in each of these events. So when we have that aspect, and knowing that the world is not under my control, it's a control on a higher power, then you make peace with the world. Just like if you are a tenant, you occupy a flat, but you don't think it's yours, yes or yes. You have some rental agreement, you have some do's and don'ts that you need to come back by 9 and don't run a drug factory. That I'm just joking. Whatever. You have some agreement, and then you are in agreement, you live happily in that particular rental apartment. So this world is like that. And when you take that philosophical view of the world, then world is like, okay. And then there is a relief. Because I am Atma, I'm just coming here for a few years and then leaving this place, then you will get a relief saying that the responsibility of the world is not on my head. There is a role I have to play, don't get me wrong. But that is to the extent, and I identify my role, and I am happy. But then when you take the responsibility of the entire, I am responsible for everything, then you are stressed out a lot. Makes sense? So, some tips, but it will take time. I'll be very brutally honest with you. Krishna says in Gita, he says to Arjuna, control your mind. Arjuna says, yep, controlling the mind is more difficult than controlling the wind. What are you talking about? Krishna says, I know, practice. So, okay. All right. The last paragraph of that purport, you want to try? Give it a shot. It's not a bad thing. Few devotees. So this is a Bhakti Sastri course that we do in the temple. This is a regulated course, and few. So welcome. Anybody is open to come and sit. So.
Yeah. When one attains Brahmanical qualifications, he becomes happy and enthusiastic to render devotional service to the Lord. Automatically, the science of God is unveiled before him. By knowing the science of God, one gradually becomes freed from material attachments, and one's doubtful mind becomes crystal clear by the grace of the Lord. One who attains this stage is a liberated soul and can see the Lord in every step of life. This is the perfection of Sambhava as described in this mantra of Sri
Ishopanishad.
Sri
No problems. Thank you. No problems. So this is another point I wanted to make, is that when you see Krishna in every step, you see that all the good and bad things are happening by His grace. So you are neither resentful nor are you elated. In fact, that's what exactly Krishna says in the Gita. I can Abhinandatina dveshti tasya prajna pratishtita in the second chapter. I will see if I can pull up that particular. No, it's fine. Second chapter, 56. Yeah. Let's do that. 56 verse. Let's all belt it out together. It's okay. Control F. Just do Control F. Control F. 56. Thank you. Here. Okay. Kindly repeat after me. Dukkeshvanu. Not this one. Not this one. Not this one. Please go back. Prabhu, one. My apologies. It's it's 57. Thank you. Yaha sarvatra Yaha sarvatra. Okay. Yaha sarvatra nabhisnehas. Okay, let's do that. Yaha sarvatra nabhisnehas. Tat tat prapya shubha shubham. Nabhinandati nadveshti. Tasya prajna pratishtita. Translation, please. Yes, thank you.
In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge.
Thank you. Slowly, I think this will not happen over time, because please understand that I have been in this world since time immemorial. Billions and billions of bodies I have taken, and I have got used to this world, the ways of this world, the nature of this world. But then the path of Bhakti Yoga is slowly to pull back away from this nature and be perfectly happy and satisfied. And as I was mentioning, a prisoner getting promotion to class A cell or going to class C solitary confinement is like, I'm still in the jail, so why do I praise it or despise it? It's the same thing. Make sense? Okay. Let's do the next mantra of Ishopanishad. Everybody doing well? Comfortable? Okay. Mantra 14. Yes, Sharab. Please.
So in this last verse, Prabhu, it says once doubtful, before that, one gradually become freed from material attachments, and once doubtful mind becomes crystal clear. Are they same or they are different? If one become free from material attachment and mind become crystal clear.
Well, they go hand in hand. As in, they are two different things, but they go hand in hand. The reason I say is that initially I pull back from material objects. Please understand when I say material objects, which means gross sense gratification. Life is just nothing but just gratify my senses. There is nothing beyond life. That is what I'm talking about, complete material attachment. So in the path of yoga, we pull back a little bit, but the mind is not crystal clear. The mind is still entranced in the material objects, wants to grasp. But when you start pushing back the mind, even though the mind is muddy, still there is some restraint. But as we go in the process of yoga, the mind becomes crystal clear to the point that it doesn't need to grab anymore, knowing that there's nothing there. So it's a hand-in-hand kind of thing. But by grace of God, a person can get that complete clarity, and you can give up material objects altogether as well. So it depends. It's not like a unique situation. Or is it not like, okay, first I need to clear material attachments, then I'll get a crystal clear mind. By grace of God, or by actually a very powerful sadhu can come, and then he can just give that mercy immediately within no time that you kind of are able to understand and realize. Like Narada Muni's story in the Bhagavatam. He was a boy, but he was just in the company of the Bhaktivedantas who were singing. Because of their mercy, his mind became completely clear. So it's what yoga process you adapt, and there are quite few factors in that. Is that helpful? Okay, thank you. Yes, Mother.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hi.
So I just want to continue what he's saying. So we all here, we come to the temple and we have spiritual master and we do spiritual practice in our life. But I see there is some improvement in our life from what we started. But I think there is still a long way to go. I still want to watch TV, and I mean, I don't want to eat out. I'm kind of satisfied with the prasadam, but still there are a few things that I still want to do, and so that clearly is material attachments. So is this what you were saying, that it'll take some time for the clearing, and we just keep on doing our practice, and eventually we probably, hopefully, we'll reach a point where we do not want to.
There is no probably, there is no hopefully. It is guaranteed. I mean it, because you think, hey, this fellow is selling snake oil. No, I can quote from Bhagavatam that actually says that on the path of Bhakti Yoga, even if you are running, if you run on a uneven surface, there is a chance you will trip, yes or yes. But what if I tell Satwat, okay, Satwat, I'm going to ask you to run on the street on Mountain View, but I'll blindfold you. The chance of falling and tripping are extremely high, yes or yes. The Bhagavatam says that in this process, even if it runs with completely blindfolded, there is no chance of tripping or falling. This is, Prabhu, can you please open 11th canto, 2nd chapter, and then Control F. Please come in, take darshan. 11th canto, 2nd chapter, and then Control F blind. Blindfold or just blind? Trip, maybe try trip, Prabhu. Thank you. Okay. Kindly repeat after me this verse. Yanastaya naro rajan na pramadyeta karhichit dhavan nimilya vanetre nashkalen napate diha. Mata, since you asked the question, please do the translation.
Translation. O King, one who accepts this process of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead will never blunder on his path in this world. Even while running with eyes closed, he will never trip or fall.
Thank you. Before Satwat accuses me of doing something dangerous, I'm doing it on the basis of authority. Right? Makes sense? So, Mata, it's guaranteed. Any process, I will not, if you come and say, Prabhu, what about Jnana Yoga? No guarantee. What about Karma Yoga? No guarantee. What about Dhyana? Very less chances of guarantee. Actually, very less chances of success only, I would say. What about Bhakti Yoga? Because the scriptures have mentioned that, and there is a reason. Because the other forms of yoga is a do-it-yourself process. But in Bhakti Yoga, Krishna is saying, when you surrender onto me, I'll propel you. Just like a child is riding the bike, they might be struggling a little bit, but if the parent gives a push from behind, same thing with Bhakti Yoga. Is that helpful? Mata? So guaranteed. And thank you for being so candid. Nice. Prabhu Satwat.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I have a follow-up question regarding this. I had once heard that spiritual life is like walking on razor's edge. We have to be extremely careful. Like this thing completely...
That is true. That is true. So spiritual life definition is a point here. Those who are on the path of other forms of yoga are also on spiritual life. There, Krishna says you have to control your mind. And actually, Arjuna has this genuine doubt in the 6th chapter of Gita. He says that, Krishna, you are asking me to control the mind. It's very difficult to control the mind. What happens if I fall down? I lose my 401k and I won't get spiritual success. It's a lose-lose situation, yes or yes? So Krishna says that the other paths are really razor sharp. You have to be very careful. Any allurement given to the mind will drag away the mind, and then the yogi kind of has a problem. But in Bhakti Yoga, it's also, that doesn't mean Bhakti Yoga is willy-nilly. You can do whatever you want to do. We have rules, we have regulations, and we also have fall downs and so on and so forth. But the idea here is that Krishna is protecting you, and even if there is a fall down, it is a personal chastisement of Krishna to help you move forward, rather than again falling down. Having said that, one has to be cautious in Bhakti Yoga as well. One shouldn't take it very light, cheap, or casual. No, that's not the point. Is that helpful? It's more of a guarantee of the process rather than saying this process you don't need to do anything or do whatever. Is that helpful? Okay. All right. Okay, let's move on. We have 1 more hour. All right. Sambhutim cha vinasham cha yastad vedo bhayam saha vinashena mrityum tirtva sambhutyamritam Mata, who didn't get a chance to do? Okay, yeah, please.
One should know perfectly the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna and his transcendental name, form, qualities and pastimes, as well as the temporary material creations with its temporary demigods, men and animals. When one knows these, he surpasses death and the ephemeral cosmic manifestation with it, and in the eternal kingdom of God, he enjoys his eternal life of bliss and knowledge.
Thank you. Paragraph 1, please. Not Chinkita or Champaka Gopi. Thank you. Please do paragraph 1.
By its so-called advancement of knowledge, human civilization has created many material things, including spaceships and atomic energy. Yet, it has failed to create a situation in which people need not die, take birth again, become old, or suffer from disease. Whenever an intelligent man raises the question of these miseries, before a so-called scientist, the scientist very cleverly replies that material science is progressing and that ultimately it will be possible to render man deathless, ageless, and diseaseless. Such answers prove the scientist's gross ignorance of material nature. In material nature, everyone is under the stringent laws of matter and must pass through the 6 stages of existence: birth, growth, maintenance, production of byproducts, deterioration, and finally death. No one in contact with material nature can be beyond these 6 laws of transformation. Therefore, no one, whether demigod, man, animal, or plant, can survive forever in the material world.
Thank you. I actually looked up with a friend. There is actually a field called cryonics. Did you hear? Yeah. Please tell something about it. Please give them. Yeah.
Again, with whatever limited knowledge that I have. So this is basically the study of DNA, and what they do is the aging process. They try to alter it. They're doing experiments right now to kind of do that process. Recently, they've also tested like babies who want specific qualities and specific features, characteristics. They're trying to do experiments around that.
Thank you. And also there is one more thing. Actually, they also store the people of those bodies of those who have passed away in cold situations for the ice and other things for like unlimited time. It seems when the technology is discovered in the future about how to recreate life, then you can come back within that body because you need the body. Cryonics, yes, look it up. People are paying thousands of dollars so that their body can be frozen after they pass away, so that it is in that state for a long time. And then when the scientists discover how to recreate, they will come back into that body that they left behind. When you read Gita, you will realize that the body was never my property to belong with. Think about it. We never had a menu card when we were born, yes? Oh, which parents do you want to be born? Which color skin? You want rich or poor? Man or woman? Which country? Nothing. You are just born. Yes or yes? So the fact that I am born without my knowledge and this body that I exist in is working in its own way, and when I give up the body, I will have no connection with the body. So where is the question of me coming back into that body? Point A. Point B is, I am an 85-year-old person suffering terminal cancer. Do you want to store the body and come back into the same cancer-ridden body to start with? It doesn't make sense. Don't waste money on that ever, please. Krishna, it is Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada is saying, no, this is the nature of this world. And instead of trying for all these things to stay here forever, make a permanent solution to go back to spiritual world where you will be there forever. Krishna is saying, come back to me, you will never have to come back to this material world again. Right? All right, let's see. This is a very famous verse from the Vishnu Puran. We'll read that paragraph. Who didn't get a chance? You can start with Shubha. Okay, online, anybody wants to read? It wouldn't be fair. I can't see anybody online. I can see, but I can see only. I see the incarnations. It's the incarnation of Shubham. He's in person and he's online as well.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I can read.
Oh, what's your name, Mata?
Shri Gopi Ganesha Devidasan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji, please. So we read from the Vishnu Puran. It will be projected in a minute. Prabhuji, just scroll. Yeah. From the Vishnu Puran. If the next, okay. And I will stay the verse, and then you can continue after that. Let me complete till the verse point, and then you can do it. From the Vishnu Puran 6.7.61, we receive the following information. Vishnu Shakti Para Prokta Kshetrajñakya Tata Para Avidya Karma Samjnanya Tritiya Shaktirishyate. All right, Mataji, please.
Lord Vishnu, the personality of Godhead, possesses different energies known as para and apara. In para superior and in apara inferior, the living entities belong to the superior energy. The material energy in which we are presently entangled is the inferior energy. The material creation is made possible by this energy, which covers the living entities with ignorance, avidya, and induces them to perform futile activities. Yet there is another part of the Lord.
Scroll. Go ahead. Okay.
Yet there is another part of the Lord's superior energy that is different from both this material and inferior energy and the living entities. The superior energy constitutes the eternal, deathless abode of the Lord. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, verse 20.
Parastasmattu bhavonyo vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha yaha sa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. Continue, Mata.
All the material planes, upper, lower, and intermediate, including the sun, moon, and Venus, are scattered throughout the universe. These planets exist only during the lifetime of Brahma. Some lower planets, however, are vanquished after the end of one day of Brahma and are again created during the next day of Brahma. On the upper planets, time is calculated differently. One of our years is equal to only 24 hours, or one day and night on the many of the upper planets. The 4 ages of Earth, Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali, last only 12,000 years according to the time scale of the upper planets. Such a length of time multiplied by 1,000 constitutes one day of Brahma, and one night of Brahma is the same. Such days and nights accumulate into months and years, and Brahma lives for 100 such years. At the end of Brahma's life, the complete universe manifestation is vanquished.
Thank you. So here, Srila Prabhupada is giving the time span because the time is different and it might be a little confusing, but easy to understand in one way. For what the lifespan of dog, they use the term dog years, correct? Dog, Y-E-A-R-S, not dog years, right? Which means that in the lifespan of dog, there is something that's happening. But human lifespan is different, correct? So, but if you have fireflies, fruit flies, the fruit flies, their lifespan is exactly 12 hours. They are born in our evening, by next day morning they die. In that lifespan, they grow, they have children, they give up. They must have children, right? Otherwise, how will the fruit flies exist? So in that 12-hour lifespan, they grow up, they have children, they have family, they are gone. So, like the fruit flies and the dogs, for the demigods, their lifespan is much longer. Our one day is 6 months of their time, and one night is another 6 months. So when the demigods live for such a long time, and then so which yuga we are in right now? Kali or what yuga? Before that? Before that? Before that? So one of this particular cycle is called Divya Yuga. There are 1024 Divya Yugas in one day of Brahma. And in each day of Brahma, 14 times the Manus come and go. 14 times Indra changes. Just in one day of Brahma. And Brahma lives for 100 such years. So our lifespan compared to Brahma, there is no question, not even a fruit fly human comparison. It's like, if unless you born, live, and have family and die and get old in 1 microsecond, there's no comparison. But Krishna is saying that even Brahma, at the end of his extremely long life, has to give up this world because the world itself is going to be gone. Krishna is saying that I'm completely going to clean out this world. There is no place. I mean, imagine the funny story. The prisoners are fighting to stay in the prison. I will get your cell, you will get my cell. And the government is slowly talking, let's completely eliminate this prison. And the prisoners say, I want this cell, I want this cell. And the government is saying, let's completely destroy that prison. Imagine the mismatch. Yes or yes? So similarly, this material world is going to be subject to destruction. But Yeah. Anyways, more questions. We can just continue this one. Yes, Shubham.
Prabhuji, it's a slightly tangential question, but I think in the first class you did touch upon like the position of Isha Upanishad, but generally I just wanted to understand that what is like the non-dualist, they generally quote Upanishads, right, now to validate their points, and like just reading the translation of the last two mantras that we did, it is like extremely clear that like Krishna has like a certain position. He is the supreme personality of Godhead, and worship of him is different than others. Then, if they are referring to Upanishads, these are contradictory to what they believe. So, is there a different understanding they have, or is it, or they don't regard Isha Upanishad? Like, what is the understanding there?
Did everybody get the question? No? It's okay to say no. Okay, thank you. Either you can explain the question again or let me explain, whatever you want. Okay. So, and probably it needs some context as well. So, there are two schools of philosophy. One is those who believe in the duality, that is, the jiva and the God are their own integral, natural beings with not getting interchangeable. And there, those who are believe what is called Advaita or monotheistic. What is that? Non-dualistic, which means that everything, God and Jiva are the same. Shubham's question was that Ishopanishad is pretty clear, and for your good news, Shubham, it'll get even more clearer in the next verse, but let's hold on to that. But then how come those who are non-dualists get attracted to Upanishads and use Upanishads as the source of their arguments? The reason is this. Upanishads mainly talk about Brahman, because it talks about the God who is what is that we read, right? Who doesn't have legs and moves everywhere, who is inside and outside of everything. Upanishads have these many statements that indicate, that refer to Brahman, and that attracts the Mayavadis because they believe that God doesn't have form. This is attractive. Point one. Point number two is, they are attracted only to the verses that validate their point. And they take it out of context. So, for example, the famous Mahavakya, Tattvam Asi, is you are that. That is their whole fundamental basis. That Upanishadic Vakya states that you are God. But what we understand is, yes, you are that, but you are that the same spiritual quality. But quantitatively, you are different. We'll talk of the prison because I have used that analogy multiple times, and let's add a twist to the prison. You know, Joe Biden, one day he gets up in the morning, he says, what is this useless White House stuff and president? Let me go and become a prisoner in the prison and enjoy prison life. Why would, it seems completely absurd, yes or yes. Why would God, who describes this material world as Dukhalayam and as Sashvatam, it is temporary, it is full of miseries. First of all, why would God come to this world and become a human being like you and me and call them his Leelas? How does it work? Argument number one. Okay, we all heard in basic logic, A equal to B, B equal to C, then A equal to? Didn't hear. Okay. I am equal to God. I am under Maya. Both the statements true? So far, so good? Then logically is, God also is covered by Maya. Which means Maya is greater than God. Right? Yes or yes? then why are we wasting time reading Gita? Be in Maya, serve Maya. Why even waste time with Gita? Something is not right with this equation. And the rightness is God, Jiva is Jiva. Here, Srila Prabhupada writes, we are superior energy of Krishna, we are Jivas. Maya is inferior energy, but with permission of God, Maya Devi has the potency to cover the Jiva. Completely makes us, our knowledge is covered, and then we think that we belong to this world and we are this body. And we identify with the body, we think we are this world or belong to this world, and we act like that, forgetting our own spiritual position. And that is called quote unquote Maya. Make sense? All right. I mean, there have been volumes and volumes refuting how Mayavad theory is not on any level sustainable, but that's a topic for some other time. Mataji.
Prabhu, you want me to continue?
No, Mataji. All good. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, I have two questions.
Yes.
One is related to what he asked. So, one that has no form, it is so difficult to understand that rather than Lord that has a form, and it's so easily relatable. So, how did they understand it?
Yeah.
And my question too is, so the material energy, which is the inferior energy of the Lord, is Maya or Durga Devi, right, Prabhuji? So, but she's a demigod. How can she be the inferior energy? When being a jiva, we are the superior energy of the Lord. How can a demigod be the inferior energy of the Lord?
All right. So, while it is true that she is a demigod in charge of the Prakriti or the material nature in of itself is considered inferior because she does the thankless task of keeping the jivas away from the Lord. And she doesn't have any effect over the Lord. Strictly speaking, her service is to keep the deluded souls deluded. And the other reason why it is mentioned inferior is because it is gross. I mean, it is insentient. I'm conscious, but this bottle is not. And this constitutes the inferior energy, but I am the superior energy. So that's how also both the reasons why it is mentioned like that. Is that okay, Mata? Okay. But then inferior energy has much better intelligence than us because she is able to cover us. The only reason is because I think I want to be independent of God. The Maya Devi says, I'll give you that facility. That's it. Because there is no way we can ever be away from Krishna, either in the conditioned or liberated state. But we have that misperception, and I need to enjoy that misperception that I am independent, I am the controller. And Maya Devi deludes like that. So in that sense, she is much superior for the conditioned jiva, but for the liberated jiva, she becomes inferior because the liberated jiva says, Maya, I have nothing to do with you. I am so engrossed in the lotus feet of the Lord, tasteless. So we can see that way also it works. Okay. All right, we can, 225. We have, okay, let's see what else. It's mantra 14 is pretty. Okay, the last one, but paragraph. Prabhuji, it is in this mantra. Control F. In this. Next one, please. Yeah, do the next search on that. Yeah, perfect. Shubham, I think we can start again. Oh, okay. You want to read Matsi? Okay. I'll ask you to read the last paragraph. Next paragraph. Shubham, go for it.
In this mantra, Sri Ishopanishad teaches that one must perfectly know both the Sambhuti, the personality of Godhead, and the vinasha, the temporary material manifestation, side by side. By knowing the material manifestation alone, one cannot be saved, for in the course of nature there is devastation at every moment. Ahani bhutani gachantiha yamala yam. Nor can one be saved from these devastations by the opening of hospitals. One can be saved from only by complete knowledge of the eternal life of bliss and awareness. The whole Vedic scheme is meant to educate men in this art of attaining eternal life. People are often misguided by temporary attractive things based on sense gratification, but service rendered to the sense objects is both misleading and degrading.
Thank you. And that statement, ahanya ahani bhutani gachanti yamalayam, it comes from Mahabharata, where Yudhishthir Maharaj was questioned by Yaksha. He says, what's the most amazing thing? Then he says, ahanya ahani bhutani gachanti iha yamalayam sheshasthavaramicchanti kimascharya tataparam. The meaning is that ahani means day and night. Gachanti means going. Yamalayam is abode of Yama, which is death. When day and night people are giving up their bodies in this world and meeting death, Sheshasthavaram means all those who are left behind, they think, it's not going to happen to us. We are good. It's only to them. Sheshasthavaram ichanti kimascharya. We are never going to die. Kimascharya tataparam. You know what's more wonderful than that? Okay. All right, Dhanalakshmi Mataji, the last paragraph, all yours. And then we can go to the next verse. And then
we must therefore save ourselves and our fellow man in the right way. There is no question of liking or disliking the truth. It is there. If we want to be saved from repeated birth and death, we must take to the devotional service of the Lord. There can be no compromise, for this is a matter of necessity.
Think about taxes. I don't like paying taxes. I will not pay taxes. I don't believe in taxes. How about that? I don't believe in taxes. IRS will say, okay, since you don't believe, we'll let you go. IRS will come and chase after you. Truth is truth, whether you like it or not. The same thing is with Krishna. It's your choice. I mean, Krishna is not saying that if you have faith in me, you are going to be eternally in heaven, otherwise you will be condemned to hell. No, that's not. Krishna is saying, if you don't believe in me, then this is the life that you will lead. Constantly, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. Even Shankaracharya says that. Right? Okay. So last, we'll do 15th. I thought we could do 16th, but that's fine. We'll do 15th and we can stop. And how people can still think that God is impersonal from this verse. Shubham. Kindly repeat after me. Oh, and this verse, memorize. You never know. This is one of the key verses. I think it's there in the list of verses memorization, but Hiranmayena patrena Satyasyapi hitam mukham Tattvam pushana pavruno Satya dharmaya drishtaye Hiranmayena patrena Satyasyapi hitam mukham Tattvam pushana pavruno Satya dharmaya drishtaye. Satvat, the translation, please. Yeah. Actually, okay.
O my Lord, sustainer of all that lives, your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee.
Thank you. And the word here is mukham. how can you explain Brahman's mukham? There is no mukham. So because Brahman is effulgence, but here it is pretty clear, because Krishna says that I have a personal feature and a personal form that's beautiful and enchanting, but it's covered by my Brahman effulgence. And here the devotee is praying to Krishna, I am unable to see your beautiful form because this effulgence of yours is too much. It doesn't matter, you want to buy 20 sunglasses and stack them on top of it, you still cannot see Krishna. You can see Krishna only through bhakti. All right, para first, please. No, he's already. Everybody gets a chance. Thank you.
In the Bhagavad Gita 14:27, the Lord explains his personal race, Brahma Jyoti, the dazzling effulgence of his personal form, in this way.
Brahmano hi pratishtaham amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya ekantikasya cha.
I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan are three aspects of the same absolute truth. Brahman is the aspect most easily perceived by the beginner. Paramatma, the Supersoul, is realized by those who have further progressed. And Bhagwan realization is the ultimate realization of the absolute truth. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 7.7, where Lord Krishna says that he is the ultimate concept of the absolute truth. Mata parataram nanyat. Therefore, Krishna is the source of Brahma Jyoti as well as the all-pervading Paramatma. Later in the Bhagavad Gita 10.42, Krishna further explains,
Athavai bahunaitena Athava bahunaitena Kim jnatena tavarjuna Vishtabhyahamidam kritsnam Ekamshena stito jagat.
but what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Thus, by his one plenary expansion, the all-pervading Paramatma, the Lord maintains the complete material cosmic creation. He also maintains all manifestations in the spiritual world. Therefore, in this Shruti mantra of Sri Ishopanishad, the Lord is addressed as Pushan, the ultimate maintainer.
Thank you. One example you can give. I already talked about Shubham. Because Shubham is sitting here, but I also see him on the screen. Now, if he is joined in 20 other Zoom calls, he is at one place, but he is in 20 places as well. Obviously, the limitation comes that he doesn't have 20 ears to hear from 20 different sources simultaneously, but Krishna has that power. Everywhere are his hands and legs. Everywhere are his ears. So Krishna can expand like that. And it is mentioned here that in the Bhagavatam, it is mentioned, Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdyate. That same absolute truth is seen as Brahman or Paramatma or Bhagavan. If you follow the path of jnana, then you will come to realize God is not having a form. He is infinite, He is light, He is great, but no form. If you go on the path of jnana. But if you go on the path of dhyana, then you will see God is Paramatma. He is sitting in everyone's heart. He is spread everywhere. He is in every atom. He is all over the place. But through bhakti, then you come to realize, no, Krishna has a form like that is there in the altar. The beautiful form of Madan Mohan. He has a charming threefold bending form with a flute in his hand, garland on his beautiful chest, and a dhoti and ankle. Everything is, and it's completely spiritual. That form is not material. And you will come to that realization. So the Ishopanishad verse says the same thing, that ultimate knowledge is a personal feature of God. Because if it was not personal feature of God, or was it the same and less important as some personal form, less important, Brahman is only, then why is the devotee asking to remove the effulgence? If Brahman is the most important thing, your Brahman is good, thank you very much, all I need. Face, no. But here they are pleading, please remove that effulgence so that I can see your face. Their face must be having something better than that effulgence. Otherwise, why ask? If the Lord's form is material, I'll see Shubham's form, I'll see Shaurabh's form. His form and my form are the same, right? But what is the difference? So here when I'm asking for, because if Brahman is the highest and the Lord's form is material, then seeing your form and you seeing my form should give the same enjoyment. But no, it doesn't. Ask a husband and wife who have been married for 15 years. The forms that are giving the joke is the joke. I've been married for quite some time, so I'm having the license to make jokes like that. And my wife, I won't want to speak to her, but she doesn't mind. And then let's continue with online. Anybody wants to read, please? I just want to give a chance in the spirit of fairness. Anybody raise their hand?
I can read Srivas Pandit Prabhu.
Yes. Sukumala Mataji.
Yes.
Yes, please, go for it. The personality of Godhead. It's a beautiful passage.
Yeah. The personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is always filled with transcendental bliss, Ananda Mayo Bhyasat. When he was present at Vrindavan in India 5,000 years ago, he always remained in transcendental bliss, even from the beginning of his childhood pastimes. The killings of various demons such as Aga, Baka, Putana, and Pralamba were but pleasure excursions for him. In his village of Vrindavan, he enjoyed himself with his mother, brother, and friends. And when he played the role of a naughty butter thief, all his associates enjoyed celestial bliss by his stealing. The Lord's fame as a butter thief is not reproachable, for by stealing butter, the Lord gave pleasure to his pure devotees. Everything the Lord did in Vrindavan was for the pleasure of his associates there. The Lord created these pastimes to attract the dry speculators and the acrobats of the so-called Hatha Yoga system who wish to find the absolute truth.
One more paragraph, please, and then we can stop.
Of the childhood play between the Lord and his playmates, the cowherd boys, Sukdev Goswami says in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.12.11.
Okay, I'll kindly repeat after me. Itam satam brahma sukhanubhutya dasyam gatanam paradaivatena maya shritanam naradarakena Shakam vijahru krita punya punja. Mataji, please.
Yeah. The personality of Godhead, who is perceived as the impersonal, blissful Brahman by the Jnanis, who is worshipped as the Supreme Lord by devotees in the mood of servitorship, and who is considered an ordinary human being by mundane people, played with the cowherd boys who had attained their position after accumulating many pious activities.
So it is the same Krishna, but seen in different perspective. And it's not something impossible to understand. Am I a son to my mother? Am I a husband to my wife? Am I a father to my daughter? Am I an employee to my boss? So, the me is perceived. Do all perceive me in the same way? So, just a useless, completely fallen soul like me is perceived in so many ways by so many people. What's wrong that Krishna only has to be a Brahman and nobody else? Means his identity is so singular that nobody can perceive anything else. How does it make sense? Because Krishna is perceived according to the path one takes to see him. And even amongst them, the same Krishna is perceived as Brahman. Actually, the yogis, when they see him, or the jnanis, when they see him as Brahman only, because Krishna is manifesting to them as Brahman. And to the jnanis, he's actually to the yogis, he's manifesting as Paramatma. And you can't see anything else except that. Should I introduce one more verse? It's a beautiful verse. You think you can see Krishna in 2 or 4 forms. This verse says you can see him in 10 forms. The same Krishna, 10 different type of people were seeing in 10 different ways. But the same boy, Krishna. Let's look up that verse. Is that okay? Or we have time? Yeah. 10:47:13, Prabhu. 10:47:13 or 16? I'll look it up. 10:47. Thank you so much. Thank you. 10th canto. It's a big verse, so let's try if we can. 47. 46 or 40? Wait. 46. Let's try 46. Come down. Ooh. No, go back. Sorry, go back. My bad. 10. Krishna kills 43. Let's try 43. 43. Sorry. 43, Prabhu. It's 42. My apologies. Control F. Cupid. Try CUPID. Thank you. 10. Okay. Please. Actually, it's a long verse. I don't know if you have the patience to recite it, but we can do just the translation if that's okay. All right. Who wants to do the translation? We didn't get a chance. Go for it.
The various groups of people in the arena regarded Krishna in different ways when he entered it with his elder brother. The wrestlers saw Krishna as a lightning bolt, the men of Mathura as best of males, the women as Cupid in person, the cowherd men as their relative, the impious rulers as a chastiser, his parents as their child, the king of the Bhojas as death, the unintelligent as the Supreme Lord's universal form, the yogis as the absolute truth, and the Vrishnis as their supreme worshipable deity.
And it is same boy Krishna. It was not that Krishna expanded himself into 10 different forms and it was a partial visiting. Okay, this is the yogi section. Let me expand myself as Paramatma. No, it is the same Krishna. He was just walking casually. But the different groups, 10 forms of Krishna, not just 1 or 2. This is amazing. So to that perception that God is just Brahman and he can't be anything else, actually just not even defies logic. Because when I can be perceived by my mother, by my father, by my wife, by my daughter, by my boss at work, or my friend who I play tennis with, for example. I don't play tennis, I'm just saying, making it up. Not that I don't like to, but I don't get a chance. If they can perceive me in so many different ways, what's wrong with Krishna? All right. Let's continue. Let's see how much time we have. We have 15 more minutes. I'll pause for questions before I wind up this particular chapter. It's a big chapter, a big purport. Please take your time. Okay. Any questions before we move on? Okay. The last paragraph of that. Prabhu, it's a big purport. So the last paragraph is, drum rolls please, in the Bhagavad Gita. Yes, thank you. I'll read this paragraph and we can round it off. In the Bhagavad Gita 646, 6 and 47, there is a comparative analysis of the three types of transcendentalists. The worshippers of the impersonal Brahman, Jnanis, the worshippers of the Paramatma feature, Yogis, and the devotees of the Lord Sri Krishna, Bhaktas. It is stated it is stated there that the Jnanis, those who have cultivated Vedic knowledge, are better than the ordinary fruitive workers, and the Yogis are still greater than Jnanis. And among all the Yogis, those who constantly serve the Lord with all their energies are the topmost. In summary, a philosopher is better than a laboring man, a mystic is superior to a philosopher, and of all the mystic yogis, he who follows Bhakti Yoga, constantly engaging in the service of the Lord, is the highest. Sri Ishopanishad directs us towards this perfection. Because some of the times we get charged, or the people raise this accusation against ISKCON. सारा दिन क्या करते हो यार? Only chanting करते हो. Just all you do is chant. You don't even do breathing exercises. You don't stand on pose like one leg. You do nothing. No yoga, nothing. And all the time you're just chanting, chanting, chanting. Where is the breathing exercise? Where is the yoga? The reason is Krishna is saying that while the other processes of yoga are great and authorized, the most effective yoga in this age of Kali Yuga is the Bhakti Yoga process. And not only most easy, but also it is the most practical, because other yogas really require prerequisites. You can't jump into dhyana. I mean, think about it. If you are like, okay, Krishna says in the dhyana yoga, you should go to the forest. Go to a place which is neither too high nor too low. Find a deer skin. Sit. Control your breath. Stop the incoming into outgoing, outgoing into incoming. Stare at the tip of your nostrils. Completely control your mind. Be a celibate. Completely be a false ego. Then you will attain perfection. Interesting? Exciting? Let's go. For that, you have to do karma yoga. Then you have to do gyan. Then you have to come to dhyana yoga. These are the prerequisites even before you come to dhyana yoga. Otherwise, it's impossible. You will go to the forest. You will come back with all mosquito bites and say, no, this is too much forest. Even if you last a day. I have had a class where 8-year-old kid, born, raised here. 1 hour, he sat cross-legged. Oh, my legs are hurting. I can't sit like that. I said, please go sit on the sofa. There is no training. It's not the poor kid's fault. It is that we don't have the training from the word God even to sit for 1 hour in a squatting position. What to speak of performing all these austerities. That's the reason Bhakti Yoga is most suitable, and Krishna is saying most effective. It's easy and it's effective. Why don't it's a good deal, if you ask me. Yes or yes, Shiva? So we'll stop here. We'll have 16, 17, 18. 3 more verses. Hopefully we'll wrap up Ishopanishad in the next class. This is 2 weeks from now, which is 6th, 7th. No, yeah, 6th or 7th, and then 13th. May 13th is we'll wrap up, and then we'll have few classes on nectar of instruction, and then we'll have exam. Any questions and comments for the exam or homework? Homeworks they'll be coming shortly on the way. Please watch out in the WhatsApp. Please do the homeworks. Homeworks, open book, everything is there. Please submit in time. 3 homeworks, 10 marks each. you bag 30 marks before you get into the exam. And if the exam is 70, you at least get 50%, then you pass. Okay. Anything else? I'm so grateful to all of you that you came this afternoon. I know it's not the ideal time, but hear me out. The reason why we chose this time was because many devotees come for the Sunday feast. They come in the morning. We thought we'll have class very early in the morning at 8 o'clock on Sundays. It's a nice time. But then the problem is that many devotees live far away as well. So to come and then go and get the families, then go back, it will be the whole day gone. So that's the reason we chose this time. Neither ideal for the students, more importantly, not ideal for the teacher, because both eat and come to the class. But thank you for bearing with me. I will see you all in 2 weeks' time. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaya Puttanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo. I'll take this out. This one you can read.
Hare Krishna.